Okay.
Okay, now we're ready to start. All right, 7:03. We're ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board. As always, we're going to start with a couple of administrative items. The first being approval of the minutes from our February 11th board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion from Bill. I'll take a second from Andrew. Is there any discussion of those minutes? Okay, all in favor? 2 in the room. 2 online, oppose and abstain. Warren wasn't at the last meeting. Okay. All right, and next is approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. I got a motion from Bill. Is there a second? Second from Andrew. Any discussion of tonight's agenda? All in favor of approving? 5-0-0, and we are underway. First up, as always, is resident remarks. We have 3 minutes per resident. If anyone wishes to speak. Do we have any residents wishing to speak? It's going once, going twice. It's a quiet group. I think the weather's too nice. It's finally some nice weather. No one wants to. All right, our first item of old business is something that was new business at the last meeting. And that was the proposal from the Election Monitoring Committee that the village board grant them permission to, if asked by an Oakland Mills resident, prior to the candidate application submission deadline for our village election, supply said resident with a list of residents who have submitted an approved application. We discussed this as new business at the last meeting. I think there were a couple of kind of administrative check the box questions that, in my opinion, Brigitte answered to satisfaction. So now we do have the opportunity, if we want to discuss this again, before potentially voting on it. So I'm going to open it up to the floor for discussion. Just give me a hand raise if you'd like some time on the floor to speak. Andrew.
Yeah, I thought I would certainly be open to that suggestion. And I know Bill had said we could even take it further by posting the applicants on the website. I'm open to that as well. So yeah, from my perspective, it seems either one is fine with me.
All right, thank you. Bill, you look like you're.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I don't know whether we're at the point where I can make an amendment. When we get there, I would want to amend it so that once the election committee certifies that the OMCA member is certified as a candidate for either the board or the CA rep, that position and person's name be put on our website.
We don't have an open motion, so if you are the board member who chooses to make a motion when we call the vote, you can actually motion to just put it into effect that way.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I forgot the timing on when to ask for the amendment, so.
Before we go that far, just in case, I just want to turn to Brigitte and Amy and make sure that there are no, administrative, technological, any other type barriers to being able to do such a thing.
Other than just how quickly I would be able to put it on the website.
Sure.
Because I don't work on Thursdays, so.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But no, other than that, no.
Yeah, I shouldn't speak for Bill, but I'm going to say, I don't think that we're looking for, real time the moment it's, received and approved, but.
Yeah.
No, I think, I think we have to be, reasonable, just as obviously if someone makes the request of the EMC at, 5:01 on Wednesday, they may not get the response from the EMC until a day later or so, because it has to come through the office.
Processes for things, and it takes time, and there's a reason for that.
Exactly, exactly. Could you say that again louder, please?
Very clearly, yes.
Is that satisfactory to you, Bill?
Oh, yeah, it's fine, whenever they can get to
Okay,
it.
all right. Other discussion on either the original EMC proposal or Bill's modification? All right. Hearing silence, I'm going ahead and I'm going to go ahead and call for a motion on the proposal.
Okay, correct me where I'm wrong, not when, where? Uh, is there a motion on the floor to do the amendment as written, to do?
There is no
the
motion on the
proposal?
floor
No
right now.
motion, okay, so, and I'm not sure how to amend it either.
Do you want me to
I'll
make the
move-
motion, Bill, and then you can do the amendment after
Well,
it's seconded?
I'll do the motion that
Okay,
we, I move that we approve the election, let's see, is this election monitoring, yeah, that the election monitoring committee request to the village board to notify a person that, forget that, this is too, sorry, I almost said wrong word, too complicated. Yeah, I move that we enact the written proposal from election monitoring committee. And then once that motion is there, I move for an amendment that would allow us to put that person's name and position applied for on our website once the election monitoring committee has certified that they are an approved candidate.
I will second and second.
I'm just taking notes on this to make sure I have it right. And I think I'm gonna kind of turn toward Amy now. I actually don't think we have a motion and an amendment. I think.
You have to make a
I-
motion.
I'm
and then
interpreting
amend.
basically what Bill motioned is to take.
Yeah, I would split it up.
Or could Bill's motion be to take what the EMC has proposed, but amend that, not amend the motion, but amend their proposal to state that we're just going to post it on our website versus them having to send it out? That's basically what Bill is saying.
So changing what it says.
All you have
So
to
it's
do is
just
change the
changing what
wording.
it says,
It's not
yes.
even an amendment.
Right,
Okay.
which is effectively what Bill did. I think he motioned to accept basically the spirit of their proposal amended to say that we will just post it on the website versus the EMC having to send it out to residents on request.
You said it better.
Does everyone agree that that's what they were hearing in that motion, you know, versus a motion followed by an amendment before we voted the first motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there any discussion on that motion? All right, then I will call a vote on Bill's motion. All in favor? Okay, we're 5-0-0.
And that includes his amendment?
It includes the change to.
Oh,
the-
Oh, okay,
Change
okay,
the-
Yes,
okay.
yes,
There is
yes,
no amendment.
yes,
Okay, gotcha, understood.
yes.
Thank you. Thanks for rescuing me.
All right.
I'll be fun.
Board chair report. Have not had a lot of time to spend on OMCA activities over the past couple of weeks. I would say, you know, from following the traffic, even though I haven't been in any meetings or phone calls, I don't think the story when it comes to the management contract and the potential change to the way the facilities are booked and managed has gotten any better for us as the villages, from my perspective. And I will let, Brigida has actually been more involved in that than I have, including some correspondence that she's written on behalf of at least several of the village managers that I think she's already shared. And are you discussing that in your update with us?
Yes.
Okay, all right, then I am going to cede the rest of my time because I think that's the most important issue that I've been working, and Brigida's been working it in more detail and harder than I have over the past couple of weeks. So I will give that time to Brigida and turn it over to you, Karen, for
Yeah, so,
CCR.
yeah, I'm trying to go through some information that I was texting people last night. So last night was the CA Board's Board Operations Committee meeting, and we worked through the agendas for the next, for the remainder of this term. And so there were some key things that came up in there that I want to make sure that I tell you guys about, and I was texting some people to say, hey, this is gonna happen. One of them is on the management contract. I believe that they put on the March 27th agenda a vote on the facilities contract. I am not sure what we will be voting on, more to come on Thursday, because this Thursday, we're going to get a presentation in the open meeting on the management contract for the facilities, but we will be in a closed meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. to talk about the assessment management contract. So a lot of stuff is kind of unknown right now. I would prefer that we talked about it, everything entirely in the public eye. But the vote failed at the last board meeting 5-5 to hold the meeting in public. So I'm gonna vote no on the closed meeting for this, but I suspect that the majority will vote to close the meeting. We'll discuss it. So more information to come. Do you have a question?
I'm trying to think of how to ask my question, so I don't put you in a position of potentially talking about things that are reserved for the closed meeting, but well, maybe it's an observation that I'm turning into a question as I think through this. So the way CA wants to do it now, and we're generally in agreement with the two different contracts, is, you know, kind of assessment facilities separate. We actually want them to be more separate than the way the CA staff wants it. Since the assessment share is based upon a rate applied to the assessed value of properties, which is all public information.
Mm-hmm.
And the assessment share, unlike, you know, the rentals for the facilities and everything, are what Columbia residents have no choice but to pay into legally. How do I ask this without getting you in trouble? What is it about assessment share that can't be discussed publicly, I guess is my question. You
I'm
know,
not
if
sure.
the-
I'm not
if the-
sure.
If the residents
yeah.
know what they're paying in, if
Right.
the calculation for the overall assessment is one thing.
Right.
And ultimately what the villages get out becomes public because it goes in our public financials and our public 990s. What I guess what is non-public about the whole assessment conversation? That's what confuses me.
I'm confused by that also. There is nothing about that contract that I think should be in a closed meeting. As I told Brigida earlier, it's my understanding that the last time the management contract was under negotiation, the whole thing was done in public. So I'm not sure why it needs to be behind closed doors this time. CA must think that there's information that they need to protect. That's the only thing I can come up with, but I don't know what that information would be.
Okay,
So, it was thrown at me in the meeting, if I remember correctly, and I'm doing this from memory, so I don't know if that we talk about rental fees and other things in the contracts, and I'm like, I don't think we talk about any of that in these rental contracts. So I'm not sure why that would have to be in a closed meeting. It doesn't
Okay.
make sense to me, Jonathan. It's one of the things I'm planning to push back on, so.
okay, all right, fair. And I don't mean to put you in an awkward
No,
position,
that's-
just ask, but I feel
yeah.
like. I feel like the question has to be asked, and I don't know where else to ask
Mhm,
it right
mhm.
now.
Well,
Right.
and at the meeting, when I listened to it, the CA board meeting, I know that, one of the CA board reps asked, John, what's his last name? The legal counsel?
Oh, John Kuchno.
And he said that, asked what his recommendation, and he said because it's a legal contract between two entities, his recommendation would be that it not be discussed publicly. And then somebody else, I believe it was another CA board rep, said, well, it's the residents' assessment share, how that money is being used.
Mhm.
So it should be an open because we're talking about how the assessment share money is being used. So I do remember hearing those two parts of the discussion. I don't remember the whole thing, but I do
Yeah.
remember, maybe because those two things stuck out in my head. I do remember hearing that.
The whole thing was very confusing, because when they were talking about it, I was asking about the facilities at one point. I was like, I don't understand why that has to be, that impacts, and then, I was told that we were talking about something different, but it was a little bit discombobulated. So yeah, so that'll happen on Thursday, and, but the facilities contract will be discussed publicly. And so, yeah, if people want to come to residents speak out. The other thing that's gonna happen on Thursday is we are going to get an update from the county council about CB 11, which is Deb Young's amendment about WR Grace Two villages are impacted by that, River Hill and Hickory Ridge. And so Deb's amendment would prevent them from doing, I mean, and there's also a bill in the state legislature as well, so. I just wanna make sure people are aware of that. And then the other two things I would talk to you guys about is, sorry, the management contract, kind of got me off track for things I was thinking about, but. This Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Ecotone, the Maryland Department of the Environment and the Army Corps of Engineers will be in Longfellow. I don't know if you guys recall, but in the last board of directors meeting, or maybe one, couple weeks back, they talked about the failing structures from the so-called stream restoration, like, you know why I call it that, so, I am gonna be at that meeting. It's gonna be right in the stream. 10 a.m. I'm gonna bring some experts with me to hear what they're saying. And right now, I believe that what Ecotone is proposing is to go in and almost redo the stream restoration, which doesn't make any sense at all to me. So I don't know why you would. You know, I will say it this way, it would be like you had a botched surgery and you went to, I probably should be careful saying that, you had a surgery that didn't go right. And you didn't want to use that same surgeon, and they were like, come on, let me just rip you open one more time. I promise I'll get it right this time. So I think that, you know, it's a cautionary tale with that one. In the meantime, I have been asking, and a lot of, I think I've told you guys this before, and I'll try not to drag this on too much. I'm really concerned about Oakland Mills because we have so many streams, and when I first ran for this position, when I was, you know, really starting to understand what stream restorations were and how destructive they were, I realized that there was one done right off Lightning View Road. And of course, that one was already underway and there was nothing we could do to stop that one. So I am really concerned about making sure that we protect the streams that run through Oakland Mills and the ponds that we have and things like that, and that we don't lose our tree canopy. So this is super important to me to make sure that Longfellow and Harper's Choice and the residents there who have been impacted, that they are part of the consideration. And that means to me is that they're notified of any work, and that they have a chance to weigh in before CA does anything. But depending on what the recommendations are, eventually CA will have to update the board on those recommendations. And I think the board probably will vote on whether or not to say yes or no to that. And then there was, the other thing I wanted to say is on April 24th, I believe CA is considering whether or not they should purchase the headquarters building. And that,
That you're currently in.
the one we're currently in,
Okay.
yes.
Mhm.
And so they're supposed to give a presentation to the CA board about the options and things like that. And so we should be getting that. And then I can't remember if I don't think that's tomorrow. It might be the next meeting. And then we'll vote on what we want to do at the end of April. So those, I think, are my highlights. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, that was a little discombobulated. I blame the management contracts. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Karen. All right, I think Regina's gonna be the star of tonight's show. There's a lot going on from the manager this week.
Well, first and foremost, it's that time for, let me pull it up here. For the Q3 financials. I think this is the right thing. Yeah. Believe it or not, we're already finished with the third quarter and in the final quarter. And pretty much a lot of what part of the budget needed comments was similar to what needed comments the last quarter. So a lot of it balances out at the end of the fiscal year. And some of the oddities maybe are the janitorial wages, and what those include are extra cleanings, and it includes courtyard setups. And to be honest, we just haven't had as many courtyard setups. And in the third quarter, we in particularly didn't have as many because we don't really have any outdoor events. So whatever it was in the second quarter, is most likely gonna carry over. And again, the expenses for different performances, for business expenses, for staff events, this prices have gone up. And the repairs and maintenance of the building, you can correspond the repairs and maintenance of the building to the retained deposits line, which is $3,500 over what was budgeted. So yes, we had more repairs, but we also kept more security deposits because of the need for those repairs. So it kind of balances each other out. And that's what you want to call it. And our advertising is way down. As you recall, last year we stopped advertising in the wedding wire. We have not seen any downfall in our rentals. Ashley has been doing it through a couple of other sites, Zola, and then also directly on the website. And it's worked out fine, and we've saved a lot of money. And oddly enough, I believe, even though we're not paying for published advertising on the wedding wire, we still are listed on the wedding wire. We just don't get the special page. So, on the very good news, did I say this out loud? We have a large amount that is going to probably be left over. So we are, if the board so chooses, we do have monies for possible, a second round of donations. And we also, with the staff, kind of been working on some things that maybe need to be done around the building. The painting of the kitchen is definitely getting done. And possibly even a new refresh upstairs in the loft. I asked for a quote today. So I was gonna put that all together and kind of present it to everybody so they could see kind of the numbers and where we're at. But that's where we're at the end of the third quarter. And that is a large part due to rentals.
Mhm.
So despite what they might present on our management of the facilities presentation, we are up on our rental, so.
Mhm.
I like note number 5, line 5, like it's line 15 under expenses. Oka Mills has not approved any legal expenses
Right?
as of the close of third quarter. I like that.
Yes, let's keep that up, please.
Let's keep that up, please, yes.
All right. Everything, I don't have any questions. Everything looks noted to me. Also, thank you again for making the adjustment to the do you have a question?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
where do profits from the rentals go?
Well, they go as a general revenue line. And then it's broken down into other barn rentals, the neighborhood center rentals, and then our leases, but it all comes out under the revenue, on the income.
Okay,
Did that cover it for you? Or are you also asking how we then disperse that revenue for expenses?
yeah, I was just curious about how. I'm just curious about how revenue is distributed.
Oh, okay, so
Can I give her this copy?
yeah, these
Okay.
become public once we
Public,
sign off on them, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Just-
We actually have a detailed statement of expenses on the last page, so you can see. Now, the, you know. The rental revenue, I mean, our revenue is a bit fungible, so you can't necessarily tie the rental revenue directly to all these expenses, but. The statement of expenses shows you how we're dispersing all of our funds, whether it be from rental or other sources. Hello.
Hi. I think I was supposed to put the zoning.
Oh, we're okay. You're here for the village board meeting?
Yeah, I'm part of the tenant union at Columbia Point. I'm on the board of leadership. I'm in charge of the event planning.
Oh, okay, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay.
You can certainly be
Paulette
here.
is
Paulette
online.
is online. It's, we do them hybrid, so no, you're welcome to come in person. Our last meeting was entirely online because of the snow, but normally we're here. Yeah. And what's your name?
Kiera Farmer.
Hi, Kara.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I've heard your name. Now I can put a
Yes,
a face
exactly.
with the name.
Hi, Kira.
So since we're underway, we already covered resident speak up, but were you coming in to say something to us? Because we have time. We can back up a second if there was some confusion over where to find us.
Yeah, I would like that information. I'm pretty sure Kevin has it somewhere, but my life is brilliant.
Okay,
I-
actually, if I can hold you for a second, let us finish on signing off the financials and this part of the agenda, and then we'll go back to you. And then we'll resume the course of the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, you walked in and looked like, what have I walked into here? We just want to make sure you're in the right place. All right, we'll come right back to you. Okay, any other questions for Brigitte on the financials? Okay. All right, I was just gonna say, I think it was a very wise idea, and thank you for, making adjustments to security deposits to ensure that if people can't treat our facility with respect, then they will pay.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll treat their bank account with respect.
And by the way, whatever happened to the building last quarter, it was not the Fine Arts Boosters event.
Okay.
We left the building as nice as we found it.
Thinking about that, yeah.
All right, is there a motion to approve the Q3 financials as submitted? I have a motion from Bill. Is there a second? I have a second from Andrew. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0-0, they pass. All right, Brigitte, let's continue with your report, and then we'll go back to a 3-minute speak out with Kiara.
Okay, so the next thing I have is, the village manager report. And a lot of it is, repeat. A lot of event information, but we did have our candidate information session last Wednesday. 2 members of the election monitoring committee were here. And it was the 3 of us, and we had a lovely conversation, but nobody else showed up, but got to know 2 of the members of the committee very well. And then, of course, on the 20th was the Columbia Association Candidate Information Night. It was all virtual.
Yeah.
And Amy shared that information as well as the packet that they provided. We are currently hiring for weekend event staff, and we are looking to set up a CPR AED training because a lot of certifications for staff are expiring, and we currently have it tentatively set for the 10th, but we might be changing that. And the bulk of the news is last week, the village manager representatives met with Judell, who is the CA facilitator for the management contracts. And it was regarding the revisions of the contracts. And unfortunately, they left very disappointed. Judell couldn't speak to the specifics of the revisions, but rather indicated that probably many of them would not be accepted. We were supposed to get more information on what the word back from CA staff that's working on the contract this week. I believe they told me it was, I think they said Thursday. Maybe it was Thursday. Anyway, I will send that information as soon as I have it. And regarding the village facilities option presentation that I had mentioned, the CA staff will be presenting it this Thursday at the CA board meeting. I did send everybody the agenda along with the attachments, which includes not only the presentation, but additional slides with our some of our concerns back, some of what we want. Basically, we don't want it at all. And also the listing of questions and concerns with with Sean McInnes's response included as well. So that is being presented on Thursday. I had reached out to, well, I watched the CA board meeting, and then I decided that I was going to reach out to the other village managers, and I was going, so I emailed them and I said, you know, I feel like it might be a good idea for all of the village managers to go to the meeting next Thursday and represent all of the 10 villages and all of the 10 facilities. And I'm planning on being there, and I probably will be speaking out at Resident Speak Out. And so I got one response immediately from another village manager who said her and her board chair were both planning on being there. And she made, and so that was that. Then I got a call from another village manager or an email, and he said, would you be willing, or could you give me a call? So I called him, and he and I talked, and he suggested that, he goes, what were you planning on reading? And I said, well, I was just basically gonna give a little bit of background about who the villages are and where, like, where does your money go to? And we're more than just a building, and kind of like make it a little more personal. And if we were all there, I thought it would really show a good front. And so he said, well, would you be willing to put together a letter for all the village managers and be willing to present it? And I said, I absolutely would be happy to do that. I'll put it together by tomorrow and then I'll send it out. So that was last Thursday. I sent it out, and I heard from 6 of the villages that were in agreement, planned on being at the meeting, and were fine with me reading it. 1 was not okay with that, and 2 I haven't heard from at all. So after all of this, I sent the letter to Jonathan and said, Jonathan, here's where I'm at. I'm not quite sure where to go from here, because I don't think it's good for me to go and not be representing all villages, if not all villages are on board. And then I was like, should I just go and speak as Brigitte Warren, the village manager of Oakland Mills? So he said, well, first and foremost, why don't you share the letter with our board, and then we'll see where we go from there. I do feel very strongly, I will be at the meeting regardless. And I will be at every meeting now, pretty much. Told my husband I'm out on the 2nd and the Tuesday and Thursday of both of those weeks, because I will be there, because this is very important. And I think that I'm not the only one of the village managers that obviously feels that way, but of course we all work, our villages all work differently, which is part of the specialness of all of the villages. And so I just think that there is a way forward, and I just think that currently my personal opinion is it's not moving forward in the way it should be moving forward. I'm not opposed to changes, not opposed to some streamlining, but I feel like it needs to be done together. And I feel like it needs to be done out in the open. And I feel like they need to respect of how the villages have been managed for the time that they've been managed, whether it's with the village managers, the boards, the staff, everybody who represents what makes these villages and the buildings what they are. I think that just needs to be respected. And I frankly do not feel like it is being respected. So that's my report. A little bit emotional, but also, like I said, you have the letter. I would definitely like to have some advice, approach, what a next step might be if I should be there on Thursday. As far as reading the letter, I'm not sure.
So I had at least a couple of reasons for asking you to share it with the village board. One is, just for awareness. Personally, as far as I'm concerned, you going into Resident Speak Out because you are a resident of Columbia, and sharing your thoughts is something you can do. And being the village manager at Oakland Mills is biographical information. It's difficult to speak on behalf of all the villages, if not all the villages said you can do that. But I think you can speak generally as a Columbia village manager.
Okay.
Because you reflect the experience of others, even if not every
Yeah.
village manager and board supported exactly what you're going to say, so that would be my advice to you. The other reason I wanted you to share it with our board was, in my opinion, and I want to see how the rest of the board feels. I think you should be able to add that you are speaking not only as the Oakland Mills Village Manager, but with the support of the board behind you.
Yes,
And I want to see how everyone feels about that. Bill's giving a thumbs up.
Got my thumbs
Yeah,
up.
He's got the finger I was hoping for. Paulette
Gave the right finger.
Paulette is giving the right finger. Warren, Andrew, okay, Warren is giving the right finger.
I haven't heard you didn't read the letter yet, did you? Or did you send it out or?
I had
Brigida sent it to us.
Yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I can look at that. I mean, if you look at it and yeah, let you know. Yeah, I haven't read it yet or so, yeah.
Andrew, she asked, resident speak out is at 7 on Thursday, so she needs to know.
Okay. I mean, yeah, if you want to read it right now, I can give you an answer right now after you finish. Or I can look at it tomorrow and give you an answer tomorrow, I guess.
I mean, you can look at it tomorrow. I feel like I'm gonna reach out to the other village managers to let them know. And I'm not gonna say which villages weren't or anything. I'm just gonna say that not all villages were on board. So I've changed the direction and, I hope everybody's still there, but I'm going to be presenting it simply as, either Brigida Warren, the Columbia resident, or Brigida Warren, the Oakland Mills Village Manager, and with support of her board.
I mean, Andrew, if it helps, I can give you like a quick overview. Brigida introduces herself as the village manager. Talks about at what our residents kind of pay into the village and what our residents get out of the village. Talks about her pride in managing the facility and in being able to provide a facility that can be used for a variety of events, also at a reasonable price with personalized service. And then talks a bit about that PowerPoint that's going to be presented that we've talked about in here at the last meeting, and how the data in that PowerPoint is not necessarily showing the entire picture of how these facilities are really run and showing the entire picture of the diversity of the facilities and how unique they are. And then, really just talks about the importance of the staff knowing the facilities well, knowing the residents well, and, requesting that the CA board continue to let the villages, through the village managers and the staff, continue to provide the individualized and personalized services we've always provided in our facilities. Is that a good summary?
That is a very good summary, yes.
I don't know, without reading the whole thing, because it's you're gonna take the whole time allotted and maybe more. That's the gist of it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm in favor of you're representing my view. Yeah, at the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking.
All right. And this isn't a policy or a financial item. I don't think we, need to vote. I think I just wanted us to, tell you have the board support. So now you can say without any doubt that you're speaking with your board support and what you're saying aligns with how your board feels.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
I do think it's important to be aware of each other and to work together.
I agree. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, Paulette has an X. I'm not sure.
Did we want to ask?
Oh, what does an X mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, after we moved off the meeting part of the agenda, I was
Oh,
gonna.
sorry,
back
sorry.
up.
Yeah, I was trying to, yeah, it's a mistake. I was trying to
Oh.
never mind.
I've never seen an X before.
I've never
It's
seen
like,
it
Paulette
before
has an
either.
X.
I can't even see it either. It's so
Oh,
funny.
okay. I was afraid to hit it or I might X you out and I didn't want to do that.
That's Paulette going, why won't he just shut up and move on? Keep the agenda going, my gosh.
Survey says.
All right, Brigida, did you have anything else for us in your report or your update?
And no, not unless somebody has questions, but no, that's all.
Any questions for Bernita? Okay, then we are going to back it up to resident speak out because there was some confusion about how to find us. And I'm gonna turn it over to you for 3 minutes.
Let me not say that I'm pretty sure you guys heard all horror stories that you could possibly hear. I know that whoever is in charge now at Ross, I think her name is Kelly, she's really good in business communication. I have to get half of my bedroom wall torn out because of a leak due to some bats that made their way through a vents somewhere on the ninth floor. So it's gonna tissue, told me it's gonna take a couple of weeks, whatever, what have you. I'm pretty much over it and ready to move, even though I would hate to move from here, because I really do like the community, like the space, and like being able to have free concerts from Merriweather. I like being 10 minutes away from the mall, so the shop. I'm gonna have to let it go at this point, because I've been through so much continuously with this building, and even watching like my neighbors, like we have a neighbor who is handicapped and he has a motorized scooter. Half the time he can't use the ramp because the garbage bins are out in front of it. There are dogs and stuff, and there are kids walking in the alley where there's glass because there are so many garbage dumpsters outside.
Kiara, hang on a second. Vicky, can you hear everything that Kiara is sharing with us? Vicky Garcia is on, and I'm asking because she
No,
works.
no, it's hard for me to make out what she's saying because it's low on it's coming in very
pull-
low.
Why don't you come up closer to the front here so the mic picks you up?
That's what I was concerned about. Because some of your stuff, this is ADA compliance, so
Okay.
if you wanna pull a chair up so you can speak into the mic, it's up to you. But I want Vicky to hear what you're saying.
Hi, sorry to be in your bubble.
And Vicky, Kiara's at Columbia Point.
Columbia
Hi.
Point. Okay. Hi.
Okay, so I was saying about how sometimes we have so many garbage dumpsters outside on the handicap ramp that I know for a fact there are at least 2 people who have motorized scooters and they cannot always get out accessibly because there are dumpsters on the ramp blocking access to the alleyway. Also, sometimes the sidewalk. There are like broken bottles, there are glass. Right now, there's a mattress that's been outside for about 4 or 5 days that's just laying in front of the Amazon lockers. People have pets, people have kids. It's not very healthy or safe when there's glass out there, when there's chicken bones on the ground, when that's a pest problem. People are getting locked in their apartments because they're not being told when they're going to be painting. I live in the tower where we have 2 doors, our front door and our back door, which goes to our kitchen, which is a fire escape door. I've never used it personally, but they blocked them off without telling us. I woke up one day, I thought somebody was in my apartment hammering. I went outside and my door was gone. They just like blocked it off without telling anybody. There are people who cannot go to work because they're not getting notified in an appropriate amount of time, or they're getting notified too late to like adjust their work schedule when they're cementing the floors to lay down tile. There are just so many things that are going on. The water shut off problem. Yeah, I've had a leak that's been in my apartment for over a month. Thank God it has not leaked again, but it's just rotting drywall in my wall that's been there for over a month. And I understand that Ross came in because they've been very transparent saying that they came in and did not understand the amount of issues that they were inheriting. But at the same time, these are all really pressing issues, and I would think that we would have enough staff to come and help us. I needed my locks changed. They came and got that done straight away. That was cool. That was fine. I know of people who have language barriers, and previous management has brushed them off, and they have had leaks for weeks. I know of people who are dealing with pest issues. I know one woman about a month or 2 ago, maybe 3 months, had a bat that came into her apartment, and it took maintenance so long to get it that it died in her apartment. People have no cold water. I met somebody on the elevator the other day who said that for the first time this winter, they had heat, and that was last Friday. And it's just a lot of things. And then don't even get me started on our old management, because they told a young couple with 2 toddlers to sleep in their car if they were hot in their apartment. So there are a lot of things that have gone on, and unfortunately, not a lot of these people are still around because they've been fed up. I'm on my way out. As soon as my lease is up, I'm gone. And I would hate to give up this space because I do love this community. I love the fact that we have this opportunity to come to a board and voice our opinions, but it's too much. I got enough going on in my life that I don't need the added stress of having to come home and be stressed out because there's a gaping hole in my wall or there's spray paint all over my wall for 4 weeks, or I don't know when they're coming to fix it. And then the people that they do send can't always communicate with me. So it's kind of pointless to get help if we can't speak to each other and we can't understand each other. They're not really being, and it's not the people that they send's fault. It's not my fault. I'm pretty sure he's great at what he does and that's why he does it. But if we can't communicate, I had to call the office and fight to get through to them to tell them the same things I told him, but he couldn't really communicate the same things I was saying to them effectively. So all of it's like a runaround game. You get to run around on, okay, well, when is this gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? I'm over it. I wanna
Is
go
this,
to
is
a
this
nice
the new, are you dealing with the new management team? Because
Yeah.
this is, this, I remember coming in. And there were a lot of residents that came out, when I first, like the very first early meetings. So I thought that a lot of that had been resolved, taken care of, and then the new management team and no. So nobody, so
Mm-mm.
Paulette, nothing's changed.
Nope,
Some things,
nope.
not many.
They've done a couple of things, but for the most part, it has not changed.
Mm.
I'm still getting those same complaints, you know.
We have we don't
Yeah.
have a sprinkler system that works. We have no fire alarm system. We have security, and the only reason we have security is because they're on fire watch. She's doing rounds in the building to make sure that until we get our security or our sprinkler system and fire detection system back up, that there is no fire.
So
And that's the only
Paulette,
reason we
did
have
what,
security.
I mean, well, didn't at the beginning when all this was, we had a lot of tenants voicing their complaints and concerns. Didn't the fire department come out? Didn't the Department of Health come out? Didn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were coming every day and finding them, and they still weren't doing anything. They were like coming and coming. I guess it wasn't enough.
I
Yeah.
see.
So Vicky,
Yeah.
can and I don't know if you'll know this, but I guess the question I have is, you know, they come out, they do their inspections, they make their findings. And then the management of the facility changes.
Right.
Does that trigger any kind of grace period or anything? It seems to me that
I
everything that the
don't
county is doing
know.
should just continue.
I don't know, but I can find out
Okay,
to excuse me, to let them know that management has changed and maybe they're gonna have to come back out or go back out.
I was going to say, if they've kind of, you know, given the new management a little bit of a break because of the change in management, I would say that unless that's required, they shouldn't. They need to stay on it to ensure that this new management is held, you know, unfortunately held responsible probably for some things they didn't know they were inheriting, but they have it now, so they
Right.
have to take care of it.
Yeah, we still don't
Right.
have utilities. We haven't had them since January. Nobody's had, like, I don't know how much my water bill has been for the past 3 months. We did get a new back door that closes, yay. However, it doesn't lock. Probably because, well, they have tape over the locks. The door itself is locked, but they can't lock it because we have no way to, or fob or app to actually unlock the door. The app that we have does not work, even during the hours that it does work. Because it went from working to, oh, it only works between 9 and 5, which doesn't make much sense, to now the doors are just open, anybody can get in and out. I know me myself, being fully transparent, I have a restraining order against somebody. I know somebody else in this building was at court with me getting the same court getting a restraining order on somebody else. So that's 2 vulnerable people in a space where the doors don't lock.
Also, a question, Paulette, has the tenant committee met with the new management team?
No.
We're working on it now. We sent a letter and they
Yeah.
said, well, since you didn't give it to somebody specific, we don't want it. We're going to return it to you. So we sent a letter of concern. We tried to reach out, but they said, well, you don't have a name on it. So we couldn't really read it.
I think the point has a union, don't they? Don't you guys have a tenants union?
And that's,
Yeah.
we sent out the letter and
They're gonna give
right.
you, yeah, they're gonna give you a hard time about that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so we're in the well, they're actually meeting now. I'm missing out on it, but we're in the process of planning a formal meeting with them. And I spoke to Kelly and she said that, well, she told me without knowing what she was telling me, but she said that they meet with the owners. Management meets with the owners periodically. So we are gonna try and reach out to her and see if there's a time where we can all get together, introduce ourselves, say who we are, what we are, things like that. Because we tried at first when they first got here and our letter was rejected.
Mm. Yeah, and on my end, then I will definitely reach out to the fire department, health department. Was there anybody else who had gone out that you can recall? I remember the fire department, health department.
Vicky,
And
didn't-
just-
wasn't the-
Consumer,
Oh, the
consumer
consumer
affairs or
protection?
something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
Did
So-
Dill come out for anything?
Who?
Dill, Department of Inspections, Licenses and Permits,
Oh, right.
because they
I'm
license all
not
the
sure
rentals.
about that.
But the elevator certification thing expired in 2024, last year sometime, I think November. So I don't know if our elevator's up to par or not.
I believe that's the state.
Yeah,
That is a
Does the-
state.
Yeah,
gotcha. But I
So
know
I'll-
after the fire department came out, and that's when the whole sprinkler system is down, we have security to patrol. The fire watch happens.
So I'll check on these departments, because if they were there previously, then they already have some, something open on these issues. And then let them know that management has changed, and then see what kind of response I get from them. And I'll let you all know. I'll send something to Brigitte.
Okay, thank
Sorry, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
She's like, "Good, yeah, I'm ready."
Yeah, that's all, because I think it makes pretty.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kiara.
I have a couple comments on this situation. My remarks are directed to Ashley, who's on councilperson Opal Jones's staff, and Vicky Garcia, who's on county executive Calvin Ball's staff. This is a major problem, and my opinion is the county needs additional legislation that's much tougher on delinquent owners like this.
Yes.
That when you have a situation like this, the county can step in and put a moratorium on all rent collection by the owner. In other words, the owner cannot collect any rent from anybody until all these issues have been resolved. That needs to happen. The owner needs to feel it hard in the pocketbook, otherwise there'll be no changes. And this is a perfect example of the need in the county for public nuisance legislation. I worked with Calvin on this back in 2020 and 2021. He was fine with it. He passed it by the chief of police at that time. Chief was fine with it. Calvin said, take it to the county council. I took it to Opal, and Opal's staff a year or two ago told me that there's not enough support on the county council for this public nuisance legislation. My opinion is it's needed. Baltimore City has it. Baltimore County has it. I have supplied those ordinances to the Opal Jones's staff. I supplied them to Calvin Ball, if I'm not mistaken, originally. The Office of Law in the Howard County can look at those, could modify for Howard County use. And my opinion is it needs to be passed because this apartment complex, I think, has 324 units, okay? And there's more than one person in every unit, so you're probably talking, I don't know, over 1,000 residents or more there that are affected gravely by the decision-making of the owners to treat these people in a less than human manner. So I strongly urge Vicky and Ashley to please take it up the line to your bosses. Please let them know it's my suggestion. And we need heavy duty county legislation to put a rent moratorium on bad actors like this. And that we need public nuisance legislation enacted to deal with this kind of situation. Thank you.
100%.
Thank you, Bill. And I will, I've got it in my notes, and it will go straight to the county executive this evening.
I appreciate that.
and thank you, Kiara. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And please,
Take care.
please do keep us up to date. You can always also just email us.
When are you leaving
Yeah.
us?
September.
Oh,
Y'all
okay.
got time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we hope
Take
that
care.
things can change so that you don't, or that, you know, there are other housing opportunities here in Oakland Mills. We don't want to lose you.
I appreciate you guys. See you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to committee reports.
You need
And,
an operations update?
oh, didn't, Brigida did that. That was
Oh, you
her,
did? Oh,
yeah.
okay, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, I
Yeah,
apologize.
elections event.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Andrew, anything architecture?
No, it's all just pretty standard applications. I think what I'll try to do for maybe the March 25th meeting is try to get an inventory of like all of the applications that have come in for the year, but most of them are just pretty standard, like new siding, new windows, roof, deck, removing a dead tree. So yeah, that's just all pretty standard.
Yeah, and you'll, probably see things start to pick up as we get into March and the weather gets nicer and people start looking at their houses and going, could use some work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So okay, that's it.
All right, very good, thank you. Education, the committee meets quarterly, so there's nothing specific out of the committee. Just, for everyone's information, if you hadn't heard, last week, I think it was Saturday evening, there was the double shooting outside the mall.
Yep.
And I mean, it's unfortunate that anyone was shot, but unfortunately, one of the surviving victim, who was in critical condition, was is a ninth grader at Oakland Mills High School here. And his family did allow the principal to share, some information about what happened and what his condition was to the community. So that went out to the the Oakland Mills High School distribution list that parents and guardians receive. So certainly, hit close to home, and I'm sure a lot of prayers are with him and his family right now. But just wanted to make everyone aware that even though it didn't happen here in Oakland Mills, it did directly affect one of our families and one of our students here in Oakland Mills. All right, Warren, public space.
Yeah, we did not meet, but I have a couple things. Pardon my voice. I talked to Kyle Gordon, who's the Bland North area park operations supervisor. We've been trying to get regular mowing of the trails in the north area because the grass gets, over your waist, and there's ticks in the summer. And he said that
Talking
their
about
goal,
that, are you talking about like across the street from me, Warren? Is that where you want mowed?
across from you, yes,
Okay, that's what I was
in the
just,
north area of Blandair, yeah.
I never stopped going in there because it's.
And he said they're trying to do it once a month, but he says sometimes they can't do it. But he said if we call them, he'll try to do it, I guess. So I thought I'd take him up on that and try to go by once a month or so. And if it looks tall, I'll call him, or I'll get Brigida to call him or something. And his name's Kyle Gordon, and see if we can get that going, because it's a beautiful piece of land, and it's unfortunate that people don't like to use it because the ticks, with the tall grass, the ticks are really bad. So
Well, good news, we had freezing cold weather in January. We might have
Yeah.
killed a lot of bugs this year.
Yeah.
We had 3 weeks of extended cold, so.
that's true.
So hopefully it's still, with the long grass, it's still not safe to go.
That's true. The other thing is about the Long Reach street improvements. There's a meeting Thursday at Long Reach High School from 5 to 7. It's not really a meeting. It's the typical Howard County transportation presentations, and you can show up anytime in there, and they have easels with boards showing the the improvements that they're doing. And there's three things. It's at Phelps Luck, Tamar, and High Tour. They're going to talk about for High Tour and Phelps Luck, they're going to do traffic calming, and they're proposing to put bike lanes on one side, on the uphill side of the roads. And for Tamar, they'll put bike lanes on either side of the roads. Now, Tamar doesn't have, it's going to be a road diet there. So that'll be take four travel lanes and put it down to one each way and a center turn lane. So I'll go to that and I'll let you know if there's any differences or anything like that. But I think it'd be a good thing to do. I think it'll make Tamar a safer road because it'll slow
100%.
things down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Maureen, when I was a little kid, that was a 2-lane road.
Is that right? I
Yeah,
don't, wow. Well, it should be. There's no reason. I've never seen it. I've never seen it that crowded. There's just not that much traffic on it. But people drive really fast on it.
I,
Because
when I lived on Lambskin and I would ride my bike from Lambskin Lane up past Snowden, I rode on the sidewalk because I didn't feel comfortable riding because the traffic was just out of control on Tamar. It was really scary.
yeah. So that's a good thing, and that's supposed to happen, I think, this spring. This is all a resurfacing project. So they're going to resurface and then they'll remark the roads and put in bike lanes. So anyone that's interested in supporting that, I recommend you go out to that. The only other thing is on the 18th, I'm hoping to have March 18th, I'm hoping to have a public space meeting in person at at your facility there somewhere.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Warren. Paulette, anything from tenant committee?
Yes, one of the tenants won their case against Columbia Point. They won over like
Yay.
$20,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so hopefully we can keep them going in the court. We still have a few more people that are going to court against them. So I just wanted to share that good news. But other than that, there's no, real updates. They're still just complaining about Ross.
Great.
I'm
Well,
glad the court
thank you.
system.
I mean, thank you for helping them find their
recognized.
voices.
Right. I'm so happy to.
I'm sorry, Andrew, I think I spoke over you.
Yeah, I said I'm glad the court system recognized the struggles properly. So that's good news.
Right. Yay.
Okay. Anything else, Paulette?
Nope,
All right,
nothing
we're
else.
making great progress considering this whole thing didn't exist a year ago and we knew
Yeah,
nothing about
great.
it. So, thank you.
Oakwood Mills is the model again.
Yes. All right, we are on to bulletin board. Amy, got anything? No, Brigitte?
No.
Bill?
Real quick, I was at Hip Hop Chicken here Saturday after I played racquetball. Went in and placed some order and sat down and waited. And a gentleman sat down next to me. And then we watched a lot of young men come in. And I could tell they were all dressed in black tracksuits. And then many had their jacket open and had a T-shirt on that was Oakland Mills boys basketball team.
Oh, that's one.
And it was 10 fellas, and then they had 2 girls were with them. And they conducted themselves as gentlemen. And I was watching that, listening to them talk, etc. And I thought they probably just got off of practice. They're hungry. And this is really nice representation for Oakland Mills community. And so I'm just listening and watching. And the gentleman next to me, after the boys have been in there probably 5-7 minutes, he elbows me and he says, "Boy, these guys are really nice guys, aren't they? This is really nice." And I said, "Yes, it is. These gentlemen, if you look at their T-shirts, are the Oakland Mills boys basketball team." And he said, "Oh, this is great. This is great." So when I got my order, then was ready to leave, some of the boys had sat down at some of the tables and went to them and I said, gentlemen, you behaved as gentlemen, you represented Oakland Mills so well. Tell Coach Harmon, I know him because I coach his daughter in soccer. Tell him that I said hi from the Green Machine and you guys were gentlemen. So that's my bulletin board.
So how was the food?
Food was good. Food was very good.
All right, very good. All right. Well, you know what? I didn't have anything, but just for the record to add to that, since Bill talked about the boys basketball team in Oakland Mills, I just saw a few minutes ago, the girls basketball team won their first round playoff game against River Hill. They're on an 18-game winning streak, and they are one of the top ranked teams in the state of Maryland. So
Go Scorps.
things are looking really, really good for them.
I shared it on the Oakland Mills
yeah.
page today, yeah.
It's the best record in the program's history
That's
since the
awesome.
school opened 51 years ago.
That's great.
As a proud alumni, I like to hear these stories.
Yes.
Girls
So
Yeah,
I was hoping that
that's
result
big.
would come in while we were
Big
sitting here and it did. Yes, I believe, let me see, I believe final score, Scorp 70, Hawks 50.
Well
Nice.
done.
Yes.
Very nice. And then the track team, Oakland Mills is on
Track
fire.
team, another championship. Yep.
Yeah, and then
Yep.
championship.
I saw the Oakland Mills, football team win a lot of games.
They went into the semifinals of
Yeah.
the state playoffs. Yep.
They had a good
too.
season.
Yep. Yep.
I got nothing.
All right, Karen got nothing. Paulette, what you got?
Nada.
Nada. All right.
No.
Way to keep with the theme.
Andrew, KTNS.
Nada también.
Okay,
Nothing.
and Warren.
Nothing.
Warren's got nothing either. Well, with 4 nothings in a row, sandwiched between a couple of somethings, I'm going to call us adjourned. Thank you all very much.